I'm Mark Granger. I'm the landlord of the Rising Sun in Berkhamsted, and I've been here 17 years now. It's very much a community pub. We're the last original alehouse on the canal. We've had a lot of complaints from one particular neighbour who bought a house a couple of years ago, and since then they've been emailing repeatedly complaints about noise and disturbance, and sometimes about noise from the pub, mainly about noise in the streets, which isn't really a licensing matter because I can't control what doesn't happen in my pub. Unfortunately, my council decorum have championed these complaints. It's important to say, as a pub and a business, the law says you're allowed to make noise, you are allowed to trade and to make noise while you trade, and that's to be expected and accepted. The law also says that people that buy a house near a pub, knowing that the pub is there, should do it knowing that there will be noise and disturbance from that business. Just because a pub is very quiet when you buy your house doesn't mean it will always stay that way, and you should anticipate that may be the case and that there may be future disturbance down the line. That being said, Decorum Council have ignored that law completely, even though it's a High Court judgment. They have spent 3 years gathering evidence to try and prove a case against me. I've had approximately 50 odd police visits to inspect my premises to make sure I'm complying with my licence conditions and that my customers are behaving. The neighbour has repeatedly uploaded noise recordings of noise from my premises, none of which have been of a level that was actionable according to decorum. In spite of that, even though there is no evidence that I've done anything wrong or that my business has done anything other than trade within the confines of my licence conditions, Decorum have repeatedly tried to restrict my trade and reduce my trading area and my outside space. They've always stood on the canal, they've always used the canal since the pub was built in 1850. The council took a view that this was not allowed and that my customers were to be restricted to 2 small outside areas directly in front of my business, and they could only sit to drink. There was to be no standing, no moving around outside, no standing on the towpath, no sitting on the lock, nothing that traditionally people have been allowed to enjoy. When we tried to negotiate and discuss this, they basically issued an ultimatum and said that either we complied with their conditions and what they felt was right, or they would call my licence in for review. That was why we engaged a solicitor and a barrister. That has cost us an awful lot of money at a time when profits are small. We're still paying off all the debts from COVID. Business is hard. I'm sure any pub landlord will tell you it's tough trading conditions. Fortunately, the legal opinion was that Decorum were completely wrong and that they had completely misinterpreted the law, and that my customers were not just free to enjoy drinks outside, but if they wanted to, could wander as far as Watford if they felt like it, without breaking my licence conditions. Obviously, we're not keen on people taking our glassware to Watford. They are still accepting complaints as we sit here. They have still said that they will act and they will impose conditions on me. So we feel we have no choice. We are crowdfunding to take Decorum to court. All money raised will go to our legal costs. We've been forced into this and we have no choice but to fight.